Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this informative session of the CaixaImpulse Innovation Program 2025. I would like to first start introducing my colleagues, Judith Jena and Jordi Vallès, and myself, Alex Esteban, and the three of us will be participating throughout the entire session. Before getting into the content of the session, we will please ask you to silence your microphones, please. Thank you. So we'd like to share with you some instructions to make the session go smoothly. First, remember that after the presentation, a live Q&A session will take place. So this will be your chance to ask any questions or ask for any clarification about the program, the call, or the slides presented. For that, we'll need that you please click on the raise hand icon, which is on the bottom menu of your screen. You will be called by your name when it's your turn to ask. So please make sure that your name and last name are displayed so we can call you by that information. Also, when you are given the floor by the moderator, please connect your microphone and camera. Also remember, please, to pay attention to the presentation and other questions to avoid any repetition, so to avoid to give the same answer over and over. And if you have any technical issue, you can use the chat tool of the platform. Okay? Please use only that tool for technical problems. If you have any question, just use the Q&A session to ask us directly that question, or you can use the email address of our program, which is displayed at the bottom of this slide, for further details about any inquiry or any information that you need from the program. Also, you can find detailed information about the call and the program itself in our website in caixaresearch.org, where you have tutorial videos, you have tutorials, you have guides, you have the ROS participation, the guide for evaluation, and so on, all the details that you may need. And also a frequent ask questions section. We will start now with the presentation. As you may know, CaixaImpulse has been running for a few years now. Actually, it started in 2015. Actually, this is the 11th edition of the program. Since 2015, we have been giving support to 232 projects. We have been providing financial support to this project with almost 25 million euros. And besides the financial support, we have been also providing non-financial support with training, consultancy, or expert advice and mentoring with a great amount of hours as well, as you can see here on this slide. 49 out of 232 projects have incorporated the spin-offs. And these spin-offs by themselves, they have been able to raise additional funding for more than 150 million euros. So we are at this point where these companies, these alumni or former participants of the program, have been able to raise more money than the money that the La Caixa Foundation has invested in that program. Of course, at this point, we always like to remind that the main goal of the program is not to incorporate a spin-off. It's not compulsory. We give a lot of freedom for projects to accept their specific business model that they want to use to reach the market. And the main goal, actually, it's for the assets to be valorized in the program. Sorry. And to keep advancing to reach stages closer to commercialization, to reach the market. Here we are showing the landscape of spin-offs that have been incorporated since 2015. You can see that most of them, or some of them, come from different institutions on different regions of Spain and Portugal. Since the call of the program, the scope is the Iberian ecosystem. So basically, all the eligible projects can come from research centers, hospitals, universities, or other foundations coming from Spain and Portugal. And these companies come from four main business areas, which are the business areas that are eligible in the program. So basically, it's therapeutics, medical devices, diagnostics, and digital health. You may be familiarized with the Valley of Death. As you can see here in this graph, um, on the left-hand side, you have projects that have access to public and competitive resources on calls or to perform research. On the right-hand side of the screen, you have projects, or on this graph, you have projects or companies that have reached the market and have access to commercialization resources or to private sources of funding. And in between these two sides, between research resources and commercialization resources, you have this long pipeline where there are a lot of challenges, and sometimes some projects fail and cannot keep advancing because of the lack of support. So as you can see here, the CaixaImpulse Innovation Program has its main focus on early stages, close to the academic environment. And the idea is to keep working, providing accompaniment service and financial support, building this bridge to go along with the projects until their assets are mature enough and they have enough resources and tools and knowledge to access other actors, other stakeholders of the innovation ecosystem. So, for example, private investors or prospective licensees. We don't do this by ourselves. So we have the collaboration of Criteria Bioventures, who are the capital risk firm of La Caixa Group. They work in the program as evaluators, as lecturers of the training program, and also as consultants and mentors of providing guidance to some of the projects and beneficiary researchers in the program. And we have also the collaboration of the
Incomoda-te assim?
of Ciencia e Tecnologia of the Portuguese government. This collaboration states that we have each year one additional project from stage one, which is entirely covered of the financial support from with the support of the Portuguese government through this foundation. As you can see here, the program is structured in three different stages. Stage one is more focused on projects that are seeking to perform a proof of concept validation in the program. Stage two is more for projects that are seeking to do further validation, to, for example, build a valorization roadmap or to do some prototype refining or design. And stage three is for more mature projects that are seeking into preparing or building a regulatory roadmap, do some preclinical or clinical validation, and work also on their exploitation or business models. Depending on the stage, you can see here that the maximum amount that a project can apply for is different. So for example, for stage one projects, they can apply for a maximum of 50,000 euros. For stage two, projects can apply for 150,000 euros, and for stage three, they can apply for 500,000 euros. The duration is also different depending on the stage. For example, projects in stage one, they can participate in the program for 1 year. And this is, I'm going to stop here because this is very important and it's different from previous editions. So for stage one projects from this edition onwards, the duration of the participation is 1 year in the program. For stage two is 2 years, and for stage three is 2 years. This detailed information about each stage is important because all candidates that are interested in applying to the program, they have to decide beforehand the stage that they want to apply for. And this is crucial because and very relevant because depending on the stage that the project is applying for, the candidate is applying for, the evaluation process is a bit different. The weight of the criteria, evaluation criteria is a bit different, and also the submission form has different elements and different sections. Okay, so this is something very important to take into account. Of course, all projects that are eligible in in the call must be coming from non-profit institutions from Spain and Portugal. So as I was mentioning before, they have to be from hospitals, other foundations, universities or research centers. They can apply as single projects or in consortium. And of course, we are focusing on these early stages of development. So we are within the academic environment. So projects with spin-offs are not eligible. Okay, we'll talk about that a bit later with more details. All these different projects or candidates, they will go through the same entry point to the call, and they will follow the same pipeline of evaluation. But depending on the stage that has been selected, then you will have all these different aspects of evaluation with the different criteria and submission form. There's something that we like to remind, and it's something very important as well, which is that once a project has been selected and is in the program, there's the chance to keep advancing to further stages through an internal pipeline. So if a project is in stage 1, and that project in the end, after some time, can achieve all the proposed development of organization milestones proposed from the very beginning, that project is able to apply to move on to stage 2. And the same for stage 2 projects. In the end, these stage 2 projects, after achieving all these objectives and milestones, they can apply to move on to stage 3. So actually, there's this internal pipeline with a fast track system that there's some internal evaluation, or you have to defend your proposal in front of a panel of experts, but you don't have to go through all the entire system that we'll be showing in a few minutes. Finally, besides this financial support, you are also offered from the program office a training program, which is compulsory for project leaders in stage 2, and mentoring and consultancy services to all projects in all stages throughout the entire participation during the 2 years or 1 year that they are in the program. Okay. If a project gets in stage 1 and keeps advancing through the different stages, it can get the support of La Caixa Foundation for a minimum of 5 years and get the financial support of a maximum of 700,000 euros per project. Okay. I will stop here, and now I will give the floor to my colleague Jordi, who will be talking about the details of the selection process and the program itself. So Jordi, when you're ready.
Thank you, Alex. So I will just provide here some details about the eligibility of the projects and proposals that you can send to our call. So just to have a general framework, what are we looking here is for applicant institutions that are non-for-profit from Spain and Portugal that are research centers. So it's normally we are receiving the proposals from hospitals, universities, institutes of research, and this kind of institutions. These institutions can be previously participation in our all calls like validate, and they can be also consortia. This means that these consortiums are in a group of institutions that are led by centers in Spain and Portugal, but can participate from any other part of the world, with the limitation of the 30% in the total budget for their activities. Although we have a mechanism for these spin-off companies that has been set up during the framework of our program to be eligible during the program that Alex has been defining previously. Next, please. Alex, next, please. Thank you. So regarding the structure of the roles that you can have in the proposals, there's mainly 3 key aspects that you have to bear in mind. All the proposals are sent by the institution that would be the beneficiary of the award if it's selected. So then we have 2 roles here. The project leader, or the researcher that is opening and submitting the proposal, and the organization manager. The organization manager is a role between the the institution that has the legal representation and can authorize the submission of this proposal. In the cases of consortium, when there's more of one institution, these partner institutions are accepted by the PI, the investigator that is participating in the consortium that is representing the institution in this proposal stage. And then we have a specific role for the owners of the asset. So when there's one of the asset that is presented in this proposal that has more than one owner of the intellectual property, that means that obviously the leader of the institution that is hosting the proposal is presenting the asset. But when this asset is co-owned by other institutions, then is the institution that is owning this percentage of the property that has to also accept the participation of the asset. So if you are presenting somebody that has been achieved in collaboration with other researchers, the institution that is owning this intellectual property has to accept the participation of the asset in the call. The members of the consortium and the owners of the asset can be the same or cannot be the same. So it means that when the partners of the consortium are the institutions that are performing some activities in the project. So they have a specific budget for a specific activities in the project. And the co-owners of the asset are those that has previous intellectual property on the asset that has been presented to the call for development. Okay, thank you. Next. Before opening a proposal in our platform, we would recommend you to download the sample form. So there's no need to open a mock proposal in our platform just to see how the form is. So you can find this sample of the template of the form in our website. There's different important information that you can find there, and one of the important things, that probably one of the more frequent question that we receive, is how to decide on what stage are you applying to. So we have designed a specific guideline for you to see what kind of proposals are we expecting to receive in stage 1, 2, or 3. As you will see, stage 1 is closer to a scientific research, project research, and then it's going more and more business oriented in stage 2 and stage 3. So I will recommend you to read this information to have all the details. So, next, please. Can you please silence your mics, please? Thank you. So then, in order to define your proposal, there's another key aspect that is really important, and is the identification of the business area and the scientific areas. So we have different business areas in the call, so mainly therapeutics, medtech, diagnostics, and digital health. You will be able to select what business area is more suitable to your proposal, and then the scientific areas that are also divided in sub areas. It is mandatory to select from 2 to 4 sub areas. So you have to click first in the area, and then you will see what sub areas have each area. This is really important because this is the information we are using to match your proposal with the reviewers that will be evaluating your proposal. So select these sub areas that are directly linked to the content of your project. Next, please. So in terms of selection, this is a standard procedure. So as Alex was mentioning before, we have a single entry in our platform in grants.lacaixafoundation.org, where you can present either stage 1, 2, or 3 proposals. all these proposals we are receiving has a first eligibility check. So just to see that all the information that we need is in place in the proposal, and then is sent to remote evaluators that are, as I was mentioning before, matched per business area and scientific area using the keywords you have selected. Then we will be using 3 experts per proposal, and in case of discrepancy, we will send it to a 4th. Then those proposals that has been pre-selected in this process will be invited to participate in the final selection, that is an interview in front of a panel of different experts that are divided by business area. We are doing an effort to have a pool of at least 40% of women in this evaluation, in these evaluators, and also a mixed composition of Spanish, Portuguese, and international experts to have a broad view during the evaluation. The selection criteria are here in your right hand, are the asset, the need, the team, implementation, and business case. You will see that the form we have from stage 1 to stage 3 is like extending during the progress of the program. So you will see that there's more weight in the asset and need in the stage 1, and more weight in the business case and social impact for the stage 3 projects. Next, please. So this is just a general view. Alex has been commenting about the funding and the structure and the possibility of progressing from one stage to another internally. But here there's 2 important points that we need to highlight. By being awarded in our program, we are obtaining 2 rights on the project you are presented. In case that you are successful in the transfer of the technology to the market, we can ask for the financial return of the grant in these projects that has been awarded in stage 2 and 3. On top of that, we can ask for the assignment of the 1% of equity in the moment of incorporation of a new company, and we will be using a structure from our criteria group at La Caixa Group to acquire this 1%. The payment of the funding that you will be receiving during this program is divided by different tranches in different milestones in the different stages. So you will see that in stage 1 there's 3 main tranches, but in stage 2 there's some of the milestones that are related to the participation of the training, and in stage 3 most of the milestones are defined tailor-made by the objectives of the project. Next, please. On top of the funding, we are also providing personalized support for projects and researchers. We will comment in further slides about the training, but this 4 weeks training that is most of it make presentially in Barcelona or Madrid. It is mandatory for stage 2 participants, and stage 1 and stage 3 are invited. We are also using a really important group of 20 mentors that are internationally recognized in their knowledge on the technology transfer because of their experience in the biotech or the pharmaceutical industry, or are as previous or serial entrepreneurs that are mentoring all these projects from the beginning in all the stages, from stage 1 to stage 3. And we have also a network of more than 600 experts that can provide you a specific advice in different areas of the knowledge that you will need for this development of the projects. And obviously, we are organizing networking activities, counting with all the network of experts and previously awarded projects in our program. So next, please. So just to wrap up, there's a calendar of the next steps in the call. You see that I will be closing the call next February 20 at 2 p.m. Central European time. This is important specifically for the Portuguese participants. And then we will be organizing the panels for the selection in two different ways this year. For stage one proposals, we will be using an online panel organization, so backing to the COVID times, if you remember that. So we will be organizing these panels online to make it more efficient in the 20th of June. And then we will be organizing for stage 2 and 3 a presential face-to-face interview in 3 or 4 of July here in Barcelona. We will have the results of this evaluation in July, in 2 weeks, and the projects will be ready to start in September. So the training, these 4 weeks of training will be done during the months of September, October, November, and December, 4 separated weeks normally in the 4 months of the end of the year. This is an important thing because this is new for this year. Projects in stage 1, they will have 1 year for the execution of the project, and the stage 2 and stage 3, they will have a maximum of 2 years. So we can just move to the last slide, just highlighting probably the most urgent things that we are closing in February. And you have the information in our website where you can find all the documents, the rules for participation, evaluation guides, and manual for submitting your proposal, and also our email for contact. This session will be also recorded and made available in the website, so you will be able to look for all this information again, and also for the questions that we are opening now to you. So if you have any question, please raise your hand, and we will be really happy to answer it.
Yes, so guys, I will call you by your name so you can open your microphone and camera and ask your question, okay? I will be in order. So the first one is Ana Clara Cristobal. Please, can you make your question?
Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for the clarifications. I think my question is also Marcin's question. Last year, the call was not open for assets that were already licensed to a company. This is my case, actually. So my asset already has an LTS signed between the university and the spin-off. And I am the CEO of the spin-off, but at the same time, the researcher at the university. And we are agreeing in keeping developing the asset together, both the spin-off and the university. Is in this situation, we are still out from this call, or are we still eligible for stage, I will say 3, probably?
Thank you, Ana Clara, for your question. So with this regard, the only eligible projects with companies that can be selected and participating are those that are coming along with what we call a linked third party, which is a profile of company that has been incorporated within the framework of the program. So if an academic project presents and submits a proposal and gets selected and wants we have signed a project agreement with the institution that the project is coming from, incorporates a company in the program, then we can make a legal change so that that company becomes a linked party of the project as an indirect beneficiary of the grant. And in that case, even if the asset is transferred, the project is eligible. If the company has been incorporated beforehand and the asset transferred to the company through a transfer agreement, the project is not eligible anymore. So the goal of the project of the program is to focus on those academic projects that have not incorporated companies yet, and if they do such a thing, then they are only eligible if they do it in the framework of the CaixaImpulse program.
Well, thank you so much. Anyway,
You're
so
welcome.
if I understood well, to do what we have done so far, we need to have a project like in the first stage and do all that we have done within the project, for instance, right?
Within the project, or maybe a more mature project. Maybe you have an asset which is mature enough to apply for stage 3,
But not licensed.
Not licensed yet. Not
Okay.
licensed yet. And then once you are in the program, you have signed the project agreement with us, with the La Caixa Foundation. If you incorporate the company or you license the asset in that specific moment, once you are in the program, then we can accommodate the company with this role of a linked party, and then legally that makes the project eligible and can continue our support.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck, guys, for this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ana Clara. Let's go now with Marcin Balcerzik. Please, Marcin.
You're muted, Marcin.
Yeah, now.
Okay, my question is related to generation of intellectual property. We have some new project regarding proton therapy, which I hope will be eligible. The point is that most likely by 20th of February, the patent will not be applied for. So in that case, should we apply for stage 1 or stage 2? Because from the slides, it wasn't very clear for me.
Well, thank you, Marcin, for the question. One of the important things for any of the projects that are participating in this call is that they have a feasible intellectual property strategy. So this is not only the point that you have an active patent or a patent submission, but that you will be able to do it in the future. So the thing that you have to evaluate if this is a patent that will be abandoned, or I don't understand exactly what's the situation of your patent.
No, it's not applied yet. We are.
It's not applied yet.
We have talked with the patent attorneys.
Yeah.
We have evaluated, and it's in preparation. But
it's in preparation.
Almost for sure by 20th of February it will not be submitted yet.
So yeah, the point is one of the issues is having a strategy. So this is a perfect situation, but you have to consider not only this potential strategy, but also the maturity of the technology that you are preparing. So normally a proposal that is not protected yet would be eligible for stage 1, but it could be in your strategy that you have really a lot of development, but you have not submitted the patent because it's in your strategy, but you have a lot of development of the technology. So I would recommend you to look at the guidelines that you have on that. And if you think that the level of maturity of the technology is ready enough to be to stage 2 is something that can be considered, because the only important thing is that you are sure that you will be able to protect it and you have a clear strategy. It's not a requirement of a stage 2 to have a patent file, because there's other kind of projects that can have any other strategy to protect it. So you have to bear in mind that, for example, we have digital health projects, and there's some of the projects that are waiting to have more information on the project to submit the patent. The point is having a clear idea of what would be protected and how, and what's the risk of not having this protection at the point you are submitting your proposal.
Like my company probably in the future will ask for licensing of this patent. The point is, I probably want to express it in this in the submission, but I hope you will not penalize it. That existing spin-off for a completely different project is somehow interested in this.
So the important thing is that there's no right acquired at the moment of the
Okay.
proposal. So most of the proposals that are participating here will be licensed to a company at certain point. So directly to a pharma company or to a startup or to a spin-off. The important thing of a patent that you are, or an asset that you are presenting, is that it's not clearly related to an awarded project. So we really need to see that there's an independence of the intellectual property from an awarded project to a new one, to be clear that it's not a continuation of a previous project that is
It is not.
presenting.
That's for sure. Okay.
So this is the point. It's a different asset, is important thing, and is not licensed, or there's no exploitation rights on the asset at the moment of the proposal submission.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Now we're gonna go with Akalo, but first let me remind how to raise your hand. There are having some troubles. So in the reaction button, just on the bottom of the Zoom, you'll find it in between the chat and the sharing button. You click there in Reaccionar and you will find the hand, okay? That's how you are gonna raise the hand and I will see you. Akalo, I think your questions have been answered, or Annalisa Calo now.
Hello, I changed my name to be more clear. Yeah, thank you so much. Actually, I have 4 questions. I don't know if I have the time. I will go to the most important for me, and then if we have time. So the first one, I would like to apply for the stage 1 project. And due to the fact that in this case, the amount is relatively small and there is not yet a defined PI, intellectual property strategy, etc., do you recommend really to go to the option of co-owners, partners, or rather present as individual PI? Which would be the best choice in this case?
So in this case, you have total freedom to select the best structure for your application. It's true that it doesn't give more value or more points having like more partners, unless it is properly justified that those partners are necessary for the development and the performance of the proof of concept validation. If it's required that you have those collaborations and those partners in the proposal for the results that you want to obtain throughout your participation in stage 1, then it's something that it's almost mandatory because it will give value to the project. If it's not something that is required, it's unnecessary, and it's something that you may think that it gives some more value, but in the end, it doesn't provide more resources or any more know-how to the development of the asset, then we don't recommend to add it. So it's perfectly fine to have the project as a single project, and of course, the ownership of the asset, it will depend on the results and who owns. It's not your institution. So once you have the results, who owns those results? It only belongs to your institution, or you have been having like some collaborations with some other partners, for profit or non-profit, who have also some rights on ownership of those assets. So that's something legal that you must review internally with your tech transfer department or your legal department in your institution.
So, for example, another institution cannot be just part of the research team of an individual project, but should be called as a partner.
They can. So not a partner. So one partner has to be another institution different from the beneficiary institution who receives financial support from the grant. If it's only a collaboration and that institution is not going to be receiving any financial support from this funding from CaixaImpulse program, then those collaborators in that other institution can be included as team members in the application.
Oh, that's
actually, there's a section of team members. You can list the team members from any institution that you are collaborating with. But if those institutions are not receiving any financial support from the grant, they don't have to be listed as partners in the structure of the proposal.
Okay, got it. Very helpful, thank you. And then another thing, again, for this stage 1 project, because again, it's not really ready, I would like you to specify better what means the business case that it's an evaluation element, because then, because it's still ongoing, I have been actually applying last year and I was penalized on this part, let's say. I would like to know how to strengthen this part in a stage 1 project.
So the definition of business case is basically all that information that you get from the market that you want to target and how you're going to get the revenues and what's the need that your technology is going to be covering and to get those revenues. But in case of a stage 1, we have to say that the specific question on that section of the submission form is more directed towards the social impact. So as you can see, it's a mixed criterion. So it's business case or social impact of your proposal. So the business case applies more for stage 2 and especially stage 3 projects. And the social impact, which is what it's more reviewed and valued in stage 1, corresponds to this specific stage, to stage 1. Okay. So the idea is that you can provide some detailed information about the impact that your technology or your approach can have in the market, in patients and society in the future if it gets commercialized. And work on that sphere so that the reviewers can understand not only the need that you are covering and the implementation that you want to perform in the program, but also the impact that may have in the future, in future patients, hospitals, or so on in the society in general. Yeah. But these numbers of the market, the size of the market and the business model and the revenues, it's something that applies more for other stages with more maturity, stage 2 and stage 3.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and that, okay, maybe I'll go to the last one. So my project would deal more on a prognostic tool, let's say, something that can predict the response of patients towards therapeutic. So which would be the field? Because we have diagnostic, therapeutics, the other two I exclude because I don't think they fit. But we don't have, which would be the most suitable one among the so means prognostic enters into diagnostics, maybe? I don't know.
So it depends. It depends what's your indication and what you're going to be using your technology for. Just this is something that we didn't mention before, but it's very important. So the committees of evaluation, when we prepare all these interviews, they are divided. I think that you already mentioned this.
Yeah, I did it.
They are divided by business areas. So it's very important when you pick the option, the business area in your proposal, if it's therapeutics, because it's going to go through a different pipeline, different from the one if it's a diagnostic tool or it's a medical device. So basically, we have like 2 different panels or committees. One is MedTech that gathers medical devices, diagnostic tests, and digital health. It's all evaluated together by the same experts and the same committee of evaluation for that specific stage. And then we have therapeutics as a different business area in a different committee.
Got it.
That's why it's very important to decide what's the priority of your development and the indication of what you're going to be using this for. It's true that we are familiarized with projects that they pick one option and then throughout their participation in the program there are like some improvements and they change indication and they change even the business area, and that's something normal that can happen in the program. But at this very first step when you're applying, it's very important to prioritize and think of who is going to be evaluating those proposals, a therapeutics committee or a medtech committee.
So it means the second committee is for the 3 remaining except therapeutics, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a minute, but okay. Otherwise, I can give the space for other people.
Yes, please. We would move on, but
sure.
You can raise your hand again if you want. Okay.
Okay. Perfect.
So, thank you, Annalisa. Let's go now with Afonso Maleiro.
Hi, can you see me? Hi, hello.
Yeah.
Good morning. I have 2 questions. So one regarding the budget. If the project is accepted and for some reason there is something that changes, can the budget expenses and the type of expenses be changed with proper justification?
Hi, thank you, Alfonso. It's not easy to hear you, but yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we can accept changes in the budget through the execution of the project. I would say that this is even quite common thing, because during the definition of an innovation project, there's identification of new needs and new strategies to apply. So we have a proper mechanism in our platform that it's called change request. So where we can change the use of the budget and the items for activities or for different items. So yeah, you have this flexibility.
Okay. Second question. So in my case, we actually have an IP pending. Actually, not IP. We submitted a provisional patent, not yet the full application. So we are actually still refining and achieving a good, strong proof of concept using that technology. So actually, we're not. I don't think we actually qualify to have a super strong application for stage 2, but we seem to be just a bit more than the stage 1. So in our case, what should we do? Because I think in the 2 years ago, I submitted, actually before we had an IP, I submitted this, and one of the evaluators said we needed stronger evidence for the type of application we claim to do with this technology. We still don't have that. So my point is that, is it better than to submit to stage 1, even though we have patent pending? Not patent pending, but the provisional application?
Yeah, it's not easy to answer a question on that without having any specific information about the project. But I would say that if you feel that you are not ready for a stage 2, you can apply for a stage 1. Even you have that the stage 1 is 1 year of execution, and you can ask for progressing to the next step even in a shorter period of time. So if you think that you can have an impact on your project with the 50K that we are providing in stage 1, and you can define a project for a 50K that makes a real impact on your project, probably you can go to stage 1.
Yeah.
If you think that you have enough proof of concept to be competitive in stage 2, where it's supposed that you have a proof of concept ready, the issue about the intellectual property is the same that I've been discussing with Marcin before. So the important thing is that you have a strategy, that you are sure that you will, what are you protecting, and that you will be able to do it. So I would focus more in the proof of concept that you have and the impact that this 50K can have in your project, if this is something that would be enough or not.
Thank you very much. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alfonso. Now, Sara Rosa, please. Can you open your mic? Sara Rosa? No.
Hi.
Okay, hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is quite simple. It's regarding eligibility criteria. So I wasn't sure, since it was one of the sub-areas was diagnostics. I'm not sure if our project is eligible. Basically, we are using an MRI sequence that is already in use, but for a new application in a different disease in which it hasn't been used yet. And I was wondering if that could be eligible for stage 1.
Yeah, that's eligible. You think that the maturity of your asset is aligned with the criteria of stage 1. That type and the specificity of that kind of asset is eligible, and we have been giving support to projects similar to the one you are describing. So we confirm that it's eligible for the program.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. So let's go now with Ana Roda. Okay.
Hi. Thank you so much for the clear presentation. I had here some question because we made a submission last year, and we were advised to go to stage 2. But you told somewhere in your presentation that, for instance, preclinical trials are normally stage 3. So we are in a stage where we want to test safety, and we think it's on stage 2, but I would like to clarify that a little bit more, if that would be possible.
Thank you, Anna. So when we're talking about preclinical and we're talking about safety, there's a lot of different experiments that can fit in this definition. So it's difficult to know about your specific project now, but I don't know if you have a clear business case in place and you have a clear regulatory roadmap and you have a clear business model of your project. I would say that stage 3 is something is a project that is for this that has a clear idea of what be this business model for you. So if you think you have this doubt about stage 2 or stage 3 because you are in safety, preclinical safety, this could perfectly fit in stage 2. It's something that it happens a lot. And you have also to bear in mind the benefits that you can have for the training and the possibility of progressing, again, as I was mentioning before. So if 150K is scarce for the activities that you are doing, but it would fit with a specific package of your development of your project development. You can articulate in stage 2 that can be competitive, and then going with the idea to progress to stage 3 if this is something that fits to your project.
Thank you so much. Another question would be about because your rules are very clear about having a project leader that will be 100% focused on the project. But actually, we were advised by some partners that it would be better that the PI would be the leader because this is somehow has some weight during evaluation. I would like to know. Okay.
I would say that this is something that we've been asked a lot. So if you look at the participants in our stage 2, where the role of the project leader is really important, one of the important aspects that has been evaluated is this capacity to participate full time and to push the project and to be in the training 100% of the time, and all the scientific importance that have to having the PI of the lab in the project is also included in team members. So you have your space to say, well, this science is coming from this lab. The PI is participating in all the scientific discussion of the project. But what is really difficult for an evaluator is to believe that certain profiles, senior profiles that have more responsibilities, will be able to participate in the training and then to have enough time to push the project onwards. So if you look at the profiles that has been already awarded in stage 2, you will realize that this is the kind of profiles that normally they are awarded, although there's some PIs that can also be participating here.
But it's okay to be like a junior postdoc without any entrepreneur experience. Okay.
Yes. So indeed the training program is designed to provide you these tools and to start providing all the knowledge that you will need to do this road.
Okay, thank you so much. That's all.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Ana. Let's go now with Yaride Perez. Yaride? Yaride, can you hear us? We hear us, bueno,
Yes.
something.
Very far away.
Yeah.
We're changing the micro. Pues ven aquí.
Sorry. What?
Now, can you hear me?
Now we can
yeah.
hear you.
Can you see me? No.
No.
Sorry. No? Okay, it doesn't matter. Regarding, thank you for this space. Regarding the last question, regarding to the project leader, it should be applicable for stage 1 or is independent?
It applies to all the stages. Yes. So as Jordi was mentioning, the project leader doesn't need to be the principal investigator of the group where you are coming from, but we need someone who has the commitment and the availability to participate in our activities, especially if you're in stage 2, as Jordi was mentioning, and you have to participate in the training program. But it's not only that. We have to prepare like all the status report meetings. You have to prepare deliverables, a valorization plan. We are very active with the meetings. We also organize networking events. So we need someone who is really committed, and even profiles in the research group that, who knows, maybe beyond the program, the person can keep leading the company, becoming the CEO of the company, or having like this special interest in starting their professional career in the tech transfer dimension outside the academia. Okay, I think it's
Sorry, Yaride, we
sorry. What are the deliverables for stage 1?
For stage 1, you have to prepare like a status report for a status report meeting, and then a final report for a final meeting when you close the project. For stage 2, you have the same deliverables, but besides those, you have also some deliverables linked to your participation in the training program of 4 weeks. So you have like to prepare a value proposition, you have to prepare a business model and a valorization plan. So there are like more deliverables, because in the stage 2, there's this compulsory element where participants have to be in the training program and prepare all these things as well.
Okay, and just in case, for some strange reason, we need to extend a couple of months in each stage, is possible? I don't know.
So
Yes.
the answer is yes, but it has to be very justified. If it's properly justified and there's like a very good reason, we understand that, especially in the innovation area, there are many things, many moving elements that are out of your control, and sometimes you need more time for this, or you need like to get some collaboration, or to run some specific experiments that you can run at a specific time, and you need more time. And so we usually are very flexible in the program with the participants, and if they justify properly why they need that extension, we usually are flexible with that, and we approve it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Let's go now with Patricia Guerreiro.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for the presentation. My question is about the eligibility, and I couldn't find this information on the documented rules for participation. But we have a project that has been submitted to the last call for the Caixa Research Health, and it is somehow scientifically related to the project that we intend to submit to the CaixaImpulse. And I would like to know if these comply with the eligibility rules, or if somehow it's already excluded. In the case of the submission to the CaixaImpulse, it will be for a stage 1 project.
Thank you, Patricia. I think I understand that you are asking if it's compatible to participate in the Caixa Research Health and the CaixaImpulse program, and this is completely compatible. So if you have an open submission in health, you can also submit to CaixaImpulse.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Even if the PI is this same person, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Patricia. Let's go now with Veronica Neubrand. Now.
And hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
I've got a question to the question in the proposal writing, where the project leader is the principal investigator of the research group developing the asset. And I just wondered, because we will have a consortium, and then actually the asset will be developed by both. So how can I answer this question?
So the answer is if it's not the case, you can answer no. It's true that there's a question when we ask for the principal investigator of the group, where the project leader is coming from, but it's only for informative reasons. It's just to have a general overview of where the projects are coming from, if they're coming from the same group, or they're coming from different institutions or different groups in the same institution. It's only for informative sessions. What is important is that the project leader is that that person doesn't need to be the principal investigator of the group, as we were saying before, and that the project leader leading the proposal is really committed to lead the proposal in the program and has enough availability to participate in the activities and prepare all the deliverables and all the reports that are required in the program. But if you find that question in the form, it's for informative reasons. So it's not because we need to control if it's the principal investigator or it's someone else. And also, if there are like different assets from the same group coming from the same principal investigator, that's eligible as well, as long as project leaders, those members are different.
Okay. Okay, thanks. And then I've got a couple of questions for the proposal writing. So can we include any references, or it's a scientific reference?
As you know, it's optional. It's not compulsory. It's just to provide a little bit more complementary information to reviewers about the development of the asset. So we recommend that those references are from the research group where you are coming from, and they back up a little bit the rationale, the scientific rationale of the asset, and provide more information than what it's provided in the different sections of the form. It's just complementary information for the reviewers.
Okay.
It's free. It's optional, and our recommendation is that don't try to fill out all the spots. I think it's a maximum of 5 references. Just put the ones that you think that they provide the right information, and it's going to give more value to your proposal.
But it's just references in this form, so we cannot put any reference behind any scientific finding.
You can mention it in the text. You can mention it in the text when you're writing the different answer in the different sections, but the number of characters is limited, so you have to make use of that. And of course, in the reference section, just the references where you have or your group have participated, and that backs up the rationale of the asset that you are presenting.
Okay. And then and in the experience and profile of the team members, can we add the OSIT number, or is it recommendable? Or?
Sorry, if you can.
In the experience profile from the team members, should we put the OSIT numbers of each investigator of the team member?
It's relevant. So you can include that, but it's not something that's going to be reviewed by the evaluators, because since it's not a research call, it's not it doesn't provide more value to your proposal.
Okay. Okay.
So thank you, Veronica. Diana Herrera, it's your turn now.
Good morning. So I have a couple questions. The first one would be, how would us express a spin-off that is planned to be created but hasn't been created already? So should we just add it when it's created, once, for example, the grant is given? But right now in the proposal, we wouldn't write it down, even though it's planned.
Hi, Diana. Thank you. So obviously, you can comment that you have a plan for creating a spin-off. This is a pretty common thing. So most of the projects have the plan of creating a spin-off. It's important just to make clear that it has not to be incorporated when you are preparing. So providing the information that you will potentially create a spin-off is something normal in a lot of proposals. So there's no problem if you just mention in the proposal.
Okay, great. And also, we're talking about the stage 3 proposal. And would you need, like, as an additional document, the business plan and deck?
Yeah, this is something that we have included. So if you have both, you can include both. And if you have to choose, you probably can include the deck. It's something that you have also to bear in mind that evaluators are using the time they have to provide. So as more efficient is for them to grasp the information of your project, the better for the evaluation. So, but you can include both if you have it.
Okay, that's great. And my last question would be about the about the reimbursement plan. Because I read it on the proposal, so I don't know if you have an example perhaps on how it happens for the case of the stage 3 projects.
Yeah, well, it happens for all the projects in stage 2 or stage 3. We are looking. You can find the KPIs of what we call successful or success of your company. But just to make you an idea, during these 10 years, we have not applied this yet. So we are really looking for proposals that are really reaching the market with an important revenue for the host institution. So if we are only asking for all the refund of all the funding we're providing, when the host institution is obtaining at least 5 times the amount of money that we have done. Just an example in lump sums, because in royalties it's just a small percentage of the recurrent revenues that the host is receiving. But this is something that we have the right to apply, but we only apply when there's a really successful story of a spin-off company.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So thank you, Diana. Let's go now with Ana Roch.
Thank you for the information. I have a question also on the project leader, and I wonder if someone that doesn't have a long-term contract can be a project leader, and if part of the salary can be supplied by the project itself.
So the answer is yes. Actually, you don't need to have a long-term contract with your institution. You don't even need to have a contract with your institution, so that's also eligible. The only thing that we ask for is that at least there's some kind of linked relationship between the institution and the project leader for the time that the project is going to be participating in the program. So it's going to be 2 years that at least that person is somehow covered by the institution or has that link with the institution for those years or that period of time. The other thing is that sorry, you mentioned
no, that answers very well my
okay,
question. That's good.
Yes, sorry. Yes, the other aspect that you mentioned is that the project can cover part of the salary of the project leader. The answer is yes. Again, not only the project leader, it could be to any member or any collaborator in a partner institution, but there's a limitation of 40%. So only 40% of the total grant can be used to cover the salary of members or collaborators participating in the project. Okay. Besides that limitation, it could be to complement salaries or to contract someone or to cover the entire salary of one person. That's not a restriction at all in the program.
Perfect. And I have a second question. In one of the slides, I think you marked the number of projects that will be allocated for each category. Is that right? So in stage 3 will be like 2 or 3 projects only, and in stage 2, 12. Huh?
Okay. So we have a budget limitation that makes us beforehand prepare that kind of structure organization to estimate or foresee a little bit the projects that are going to be participating in each stage. So the initial idea is to have around 15 or 16 in stage 1, around 11 or 12 in stage 2, or 2 or 3 in stage 3. So it has this funnel shape naturally in the program. But that can change. So if, for example, there are less projects than expected that have enough quality to get into the program when they're evaluated, and we have like some money left from one of the stages, we can rearrange that and put more money in stage 1 or stage 3 to try to support more projects. So it's something that we have the freedom to do after we have the final selection.
So you have some number in mind at this moment about the success rate, or considering other years?
So it's around 6-7%, depending on the stage, but more or less it's between 6 and 7%.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so thank you, Ana. Let's go now with Jorge Bondia. Please, can you ask your question? Yeah.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So my question, in my case, I will go for the digital health. So my question is related to the concept of assets, because what we have are a pack of software registries that make a digital ecosystem. So as a software, it cannot be patented, of course. So So I understand that this is eligible. I mean, it's considered an asset eligible for applying for a digital health project, right?
Yeah, it is. So thank you, Jorge. That's why in previous questions I was talking about strategy of intellectual property strategy, and even I make this example of digital health. Obviously, there's a lot of digital health projects that cannot protect efficiently the asset by using a patent. And your strategy in this case, if it's based on copyright or registry, and then you have some knowledge that you are keeping in your server or in your lab just to provide the service, is a perfect eligible project for digital health, and this is a common strategy.
Okay, even if it's multiple digital, multiple registries. I mean, we have let's say like 4 or 5 software registries that combined make our product. Let's say so.
Yeah, it would then be important in the definition of your asset. Why is this including different components, or that you have a pipeline of products? This is important in the definition. So if these different components are important for the product that or the service that you are providing, this is a single asset. And then if there's no same use for this and you have a platform, even this platform can be the asset. So in the definition, you have to include what's the asset and the need. So if the need is the same, so normally the asset is the same.
The same, okay. And a second question would be about incorporating foreign institutions outside Spain and Portugal, because we were planning to do some clinical trial with a pediatric hospital in the US. So I understand that it would be eligible to participate with us in the project. Is that right?
Yeah. As previously mentioned, any institution that is a research non-for-profit institution can be incorporated in the consortium with this limitation of the 30% of total budget.
And how is it formalized? Is this U.S. institution receiving money from Caixa, or
No,
is receiving money from us? I mean,
no, all the money is in any situation is sent only to the host institution.
Okay.
And then is the host institution who is sending the money to the different participants of the consortium.
So we need to formalize some kind of, let's say, contract or agreement between.
Yeah, a consortium agreement normally is required for you to have this legal safety in the operation of the project. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jorge. Rita Fragoso, it's now your turn.
Hi, thank you for the presentation. So I will apologize in advance because if you already answered this, but it was not clear to me. So if you want to apply to stage 2 with an asset that is being developed by the research institution, but also by a company, so a for-profit institution, and the ownership will be 50-50. We haven't applied for the provisional patent yet. Can we still apply? And can the other institution also do some activities?
So the answer is no, because we need that the non-for-profit institution has more than 50% of ownership. So if it's 50-50, then that doesn't comply with the criteria.
Okay.
We need that the non-profit institution or the benefit institution has, or if it's a consortium of different non-profit institutions all together have more than 50% of ownership. If that's the case, it could be 50 point something. That's enough for us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask now.
That's enough for us. Okay, if that's the case, then it's eligible. The company can come along as a co-owner of the asset, but since it would be a for-profit institution, it wouldn't be eligible to be a partner, because they have to be non-profit institutions, mostly research institutions. So they won't be entitled to receive money directly from the grant, to be an indirect beneficiary, but they could be subcontracted through the outsourcing of different activities. So for example, you have your project from your academic institution participating single or in consortium, and you have this company as collaborator, and you need to outsource some services to the company. you can do that, and that's eligible. What we cannot do is just to direct money straight from the grant to the company without the subcontracting process.
Okay, so if I may ask just another question. So I understood that you can apply to this call and also then to other calls of Caixa Foundation, as for example, a Caixa Research Health call. But then can the PI, can someone be the PI of two different ongoing projects?
Yes, that's compatible. It could
Okay.
be that's something that has happened, and we have project leaders that are in both proposals have been selected in different calls, and that's something that it's compatible and
Okay.
it's eligible. Yeah.
Alex, just may I add something?
Sure.
Just to make it clear, it's applied to different calls. If you are awarded in CaixaImpulse and you have an active project, you cannot be PL in a new proposal. So it has to be somebody from the lab, but it can be not the same person. Same PL cannot be participating in the CaixaImpulse program as a project leader. It can be team member, but not as a project leader.
Unless it's a different asset. If it's a different asset, you can be project leader in both projects. So, but you cannot be project leader of the same asset twice.
This would be a different asset. It wouldn't be, for example, me, the project leader, but the guy from the lab. But just to make sure that then if the call for the Caixa Research Health opens again, the PI would be okay to apply again, even if the is awarded, for example, the impulse in case we would apply now. So that would not be a problem.
No, that's
okay.
right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rita. Let's go now with Laura Becerra Fajardo, please.
Yeah, thank you. We're coming from Caixa Research Validate. So there's one question on it. In terms of eligibility for stage 3, the spin-off cannot be created, but is there the possibility, for example, in order to apply to a neotech grant that requires a 6 months incorporation of a company 6 months before the neotech, can we incorporate a company but not do the transfer of the IP to the company so that we can opt to a neotech? And at the same time, as the university is still the owner and manager of the IP, can we apply to stage 3?
Thank you, Laura. So the important thing here is that there's no right acquired previously to the submission. So if there's a company that has been set up but has no link with the asset because there's no first refusal or license, optional license or something like that, if there's no right that has been already acquired, this asset can be eligible.
Great. And the second question is, as we are coming from what would be the equivalent of a stage 2 and having in mind the success rate of a stage 3, the projects that come from previous stages have a priority over other projects for the evaluation, or everybody starts with exactly the same probability even though they are coming from previous stages?
All the projects will be evaluated with the same criteria, and they will be competing one with the other with no priority.
Okay. And the last one, there's a limit of the number of proposals that can be sent by institution?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Is there a limit for the number of projects that can be sent by institution?
No. There's no limitation. No.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. Marcin, let's go with you again.
Thank you again. I have two questions about the first and second stage. Like for your definition of second stage to apply is TRL3, which is experimental proof of concept. Would you consider simulations an experimental proof?
In your case, yes, but it's not only that. It's also that you have also some strategy on how you're going to advance with the project. What's going to be your validation plan? Which validation activities are you planning on doing? Do you have that? Do you have more information about the market that you're going to be targeting? Just think that, as we were mentioning before, the submission form is different between stage 1 and stage 2. And for stage 2, you have more business questions that you need to answer, and they will be reviewed by the evaluators. So, for example, the market, how your technology is attractive, or it's going to be attractive for the market. Also, the value proposition, how do you differentiate from competitors? If you have all that information and you think that the results that you have right now, they lead to the completion of this proof of concept, then the answer is yes. But you have to take this into account, so that it's not only the moment that the project is and the different elements that are linked to the development of the asset, but also the type of questions that you will be asked with the submission form, and you will be evaluated.
My second question is, you told that if one obtains, like, for example, stage 1, the internal evaluation can allow to go to pass to stage 2.
That's
My
right.
question about this process is, how long does it take between more or less completion of phase 1 to go to phase 2 internally? And is it not 1 year, or you just tell me, okay, now you are fine, you can apply in public call, which is now?
So the only requirement for a project in stage 1 to move on to the next stage, or to apply to move on to the next stage, is to have a status report meeting with the assigned project manager from La Caixa Foundation. In that meeting, then it's going to be the project is going to be reviewed, and it's going to be also discussed with the project leader if the project is ready or not. If the project is ready, that at any moment, the project doesn't need to wait until it finalizes the participation in the program for 1 year. So at any moment, they will have access to the submission form that they need to complete to move on to the next stage, and they can prepare that. Once that's prepared, then that project leader, will have to defend that new proposal to the committee, the innovation committee of the program. And the innovation committee gathers once a year, more or less in June, July. So that's what marks our calendar. Okay, so you will have access to work on your proposal to move on to the next stage at any moment during your participation, once the project manager from the program office has given their approval. But then once everything is ready, you will have the chance to defend that in front of the panel by June, July, which is at the same time that they gather to evaluate the proposals that are coming from outside, not from this internal pipeline.
So to be practical, as the project starts more or less January, they are completed, say, December, because it's 1 year. So there will be 1 year, more or less, gap between stage 1 and stage 2.
More or less, yes.
Okay.
But it could be 6 months. If you think that in 6 months the project is ready, then of course we can start. You can start working on this proposal. But of course, the defense, it will be at least after 6 months. If you start in January, then you will have the presentation of the defense in June, July. So that's a 6 months period, and then after that you will have your next participation in the next stage, in stage 2, from September onwards.
So you can have a chance to be continuous.
You
but
can have a chance. It's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's very challenging. You can wait that year, because it's the period of time marked for the project to participate in the program. But if after 6 months, that's a minimum amount of time for the project to access the proposal and prepare it, to defend it in June, July to the experts.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Martin. Let's go now with Anchor Serrano. Please, if you could mute your microphones, this would help. Anchor, let's go. Anchor, do you hear us? Hola. If not, let's move to Laia Torrent, and then we try again. Okay. Laia, please.
Hello. Yes, I have a couple of questions. One is related to the technology integration, as you were talking about. My asset would go into digital health as well, stage 1. And for developing this this software, I would need the technology of a company spin-off that already exists as one part of the technology that would be using my asset. My question is, how do you recommend I include this company in my project? In what role? And I have a second question related to my paper as a project leader, being a doctor, because I would be requested to be full time into this project, right? As I understood, but then I could also have part of the project as a salary, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
So this is quite annoying. I don't know why there's somebody talking here. Can you please mute your phones, please? Thank you. So going to the first question, this is something that you will need to analyze properly, because if the asset is not owned by the institution, or at least is the main owner, as Alex was mentioned, having more than the 50%, this cannot be eligible. So I don't know the details of your project, but if this technology that is owned by a company is necessary for the asset, you really need to define in what percentage it would be part of your asset. And this is something that you would need to have clear in your proposal before applying. Because if the evaluator can understand that this asset is mainly a technology from a company that you are using for another purpose, then would be not eligible. So we really need to understand
Even if
that
I'm using as a service, even if this company is providing a service to the asset.
If this is a company and this is the asset that you are elaborating, that is central to your asset, to your activity, this is something that you really need to define in what percentage you will own the final product that you are developing. If not, it would be understood as something that is in hands of a for-profit company. And if it's a for-profit and there's no percentage established, we should assume that it's not eligible. So I would advise us talk with this company and to have an arrangement of co-ownership of the proposal of the future product that you are developing here. Okay, and then the second question, it was complicated to understand, but I think that you were talking about having personnel as eligible cost in your proposal. Is that the question?
No. I was just saying that as a doctor, I mean, I'm working as a doctor now. Well, I'm a doctor. The question would be that once you are into the project, you are requested to be full time, right? As I understood. Okay.
Well, yeah. So what are we looking for is the project leader is full-time in the project, so it has a main dedication on the project. So if you cannot be ready to be in, for example, in the training or doing the deliverables of the project that are expected to be done during the project execution, it would be better to find somebody in your team that can be the project leader.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laia. Let's try again with Anchor Serrano. Let's see if now we can hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I had a problem with my AirPods, sorry. I cannot put on the camera because we are in a hospital setting for privacy issues. So I have two questions. One question is regarding the time for starting the project. So I think that for stage 2, we have a mandatory meeting that's starting in September. So does it mean that for stage 2, our timeline for the Gantt diagram, we do start on September also?
So the project officially starts from the date that it's stated in the project agreement that we signed with your institution. So it's true that from September onwards of that year, we start with all the activities, with the training program, with the consultancy and mentoring services. But once we share with your institution the template of the project agreement that we have to sign, both institutions, then you have a clause where you have to specify the specific date. So the time will start counting from the specific date. That date has to be before the 31st of December.
Okay. Okay.
Of the current year.
Yeah. And the second question is, we are applying for stage 2 for a medical software device. So following the MDR 2017-745 regulation, we are moving from clinical performance to clinical benefit. This means doing clinical investigations. This is really stage 2 or this is stage 3? Because we are not from a business case development for being into stage 3, but this is a clinical trial because MDR obliges to make clinical investigations with the new regulation.
Without knowing more details about the project, it's hard to direct you towards a specific stage. But what we recommend is that, as Jordi was sharing before, you have the guidelines on the application form where you have a specific bullet points. It's like a self-assessment tool where you have the different bullet points and you can check, okay, I comply with this, and then that directs you towards the specific stage. Our suggestion is that when you have doubts, just think that once you access, for example, stage 2, and you in the case of stage 2, you participate in the training and you advance with your project, you can select to move on to the next stage at any time with the requirements that we were talking about before. So if you have doubts, our recommendation is to go to the lower stage, and then from there keep advancing with the development plan that you have in mind. And at any moment when you think that the project is ready and the asset is mature enough, then request to move on to the next stage, just in case. So stage 3 is also very competitive. So we only give 3 grants. That's the total, the maximum number of grants that we can provide for that specific financial support. So that's something to take into account as well. And also something that we're like reminding before is that when you prepare the application form, it's what we call a telescopic application form. So for stage 1, there are like some basic questions about the science and the rationale and the need of the asset. The stage 2 application form has those questions, but it has more additional questions related to value proposition and to the market. And the stage 3 application form has even more questions about business elements of the project. So you have the questions of stage 1, stage 2, and the stage 3, and then we ask you about competitors' landscape, about a regulatory roadmap, or some things that are very specialized. So you have to be very sure that you have all that information ready to complete the form and to be evaluated by the reviewers of the program.
Okay, thanks a lot.
So thank you, Anchor. Let's go with the next one. It's Enrico40R, bit cryptic. Please, can you?
Yes, one second. I am switching on my camera. Sorry that my name doesn't show. Yes, can you
Thank you.
hear and see me? Yes, there I am.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Very interesting. My question is regarding the expenses that can be justified within the budget, and in particular, whether interaction with regulatory authorities could be justified. And yeah, maybe I have another question regarding the process of reviewing the stage report, the status report.
So if I may, the
Yeah,
first
please
one
go
is
ahead.
yes, it is
Okay.
eligible. So you move to the second one.
Even right, okay, thank you. Even if it if it goes beyond the budget, no, right? I mean,
Obviously not.
obviously not, right? So, but it could be perhaps
So you can justify
partially.
a percentage, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
something that if your institution can split the budget, is something that can be included. Normally,
All right.
we prefer to have activities that has a whole impact in the project, not participating in just a part of an activity.
Right.
But there's a initial cost of the first interview or travel for the first interviews. It can be incorporate it in the budget, and then probably you can have other sources for following meetings. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And then, so regarding the review process for the status update, status review, the status report, right? During that status report, is there an assessment of the asset in regards or in comparison with the state of the art? And in particular, is there any patent search involved in this?
Well, this is not a specific activity that we are doing. So if you are saying that depending on the stage, the level of or the deepness of our analysis is different, but obviously it's something that we are really interested on. So we will be following the assessment of the project leader, but also we will be collaborating with experts in the different aspects, and we will be following the developing of the project in all the directions that are required for the development of an innovation project. So we are not performing actively due diligence on your intellectual property if there's not a specific issue that makes us understand that is something that we have to do.
Okay.
But we will be asking you to have everything in place to inform in this status about the status of all the milestones of your project, and if there's something that has to be developed in IPR, for example, we will be asking for the results. If then we have to decide about continuing or not, and there's some doubts about the performance of any of these parts, we can do an external analysis to the site.
And so in the case that there is a conflict regarding the intellectual property rights, for example, lack of freedom to operate, well, yeah, if that can be analyzed during the development, modifications to the project on the basis of that report are allowed? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this is pretty common. So it happens all the time. So that you have to restrain the focus or the uses or even change indication. It has happened too. So the thing is that during this execution, you end up with a better product and a better solution that is feasible to reach the patients at the end. So this is what are we looking, and we're really flexible to provide budget and resources to achieve this goal.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So guys, we have 6 more questions. Next one is Jesus Chatas Train.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you for the presentation and for this clarification. My question is about confidentiality and dissemination of the results. So if I read properly in the rules for this call, all the products and data that is after the granted project is under the confidentiality report. So can we disseminate it anyhow in publications, scientific publication or congresses?
So you mean the maintenance of confidentiality throughout the process of your application?
I mean, if the project is granted, the results that are derived for this project can be published in scientific journals.
Well, that's something you have to review with your members of the tech transfer office of your institution. But of course, the idea is that your asset has, or your assets, they have to be somehow commercialized in the future. And for that, you need to dedicate some resources for the development and to get all the resources necessary for the development, like from venture capital and from other sources of financial support. It's important that at least there's some protection on the assets so that you don't get scooped by someone else and you have like someone else like patents that before you, and or maybe there are some other collaborators that are working, or no collaborators that are working on the same thing, and you in the end you cannot end up commercializing or reaching the market for that. So it's important that if you have like a very novel result which has the potential to be scaled or to be transferred, and you think that it has the possibilities to get into the program, that's not disclosed in publications, at least not the specific details that you may be able to protect in the future.
Yeah, but if we start with an asset already patent, so all the modification or validation process or improvements of this that already patent asset can be published because it's already protected, right?
If the patent, so if the asset has been disclosed by a publication related to the patent that it's being filed, then that's totally eligible, and that's a normal situation. And yeah, of course, you can get into the program and keep developing like a experimental strategy or a validation strategy to keep improving your asset and keep reaching more maturity stages. So that's something you can do. If that's the case, if the publication you refer to, it's something that is related to a patent that protects that, no one else can copy or can reproduce what you are developing.
Okay, I understand it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jesus. Let's go with Jorge Camacho. Please.
Hello. Thank you for the meeting and the presentation. My question is about, we are thinking about going to phase 2, and we are thinking in an open hardware business model. So I have doubts about the assets because the device that we have a prototype that we are going to propose. The idea is that the hardware is open so anyone can replicate it, and the company provide the services on top of that platform and be a provider of the platform, but not exclusivity in the manufacturing of the hardware. So I have the doubt about the assets because we do not have a patent about that. We have the experience and the knowledge of developing a first prototype, and we want to move forward. But what could be the asset? Can be the know-how, or that is not enough?
In this kind of projects, we are also thinking about the strategy you have to protect the results, and this is only the main reason of that is having certainty, if it can be done in innovation, that the solution can reach the market. So in your proposal, you have to have a strategy on how are you getting enough funding from the source that could be convenient to develop this product and make it available to society. So obviously there's a business side of this kind of development that is based on having a patent and having IP rights, and then convincing private investors to have the funding. But if you have a clear strategy of how you have a specific knowledge that is in your side, that is what define your asset, there can be a part that is public and something that you are adding. And you have a strategy to reach the funding to develop your project until you reach society, then you can submit a proposal to our call. The point is, how are you defining what is your knowledge compare what is already known, and how are you be able to attract enough funding to develop this solution to the market.
Okay, but then for phase 2, it is not mandatory that we have a patent already presented.
No,
everything it can be part of the strategy of doing that during the phase 2.
Yeah, the point is that it can be a project that is not based in patents at all. Okay. So you can have your own knowledge because you have a platform providing some kind of service that how are you, I don't know, I'm imagining because I don't know about anything about your project, but you are receiving some information, you are transforming this information in a solution for somebody, and the way you are providing this solution is not known. Then you have a business model and you have something that can be attractive, and it's something that can be invested or funded by somebody. Okay. The point is that you are able to define what you have that the others don't, and how are you protecting your knowledge, and how are you reaching funding to reach the final point.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Jorge. Let's go with Ana Roda. Ana Roda have some more questions.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I was wondering about still the team because we are quite a big team, and because we are, as you know, all dependent on funding opportunities, there might be some changes until the project really starts. So I was wondering if that's possible somehow to make changes in the team, because we cannot assure that the team will be up to September, December available to.
The answer is yes, and we understand the situation perfectly. We understand that now we have a lot of months ahead before we announce the selected projects, and that things may change. So now it's to have a general overview for reviewers, so they can see all the different profiles, the team members list that are going to be participating in the project, and if they are complementary and they are really the ones that the project needs to advance. And of course, once the project is selected, we'll be asking you to access our follow-up platform so that you can update that list of team members. And in any case, as Jordi was mentioning before, when you are participating in the program, at any moment, you can also use the change request tool of our platform, and you can make changes also in the team. The only thing that we would suggest to have very clear from the beginning is the project leader, because changes in project leader is not something easy. Something like it's not a process that goes smoothly. So we need some legal requirements and that we need to fulfill, and it's something that we prefer not to deal with. So our recommendation is, of course, that the project leader from the very beginning in the application is someone who has the commitment and for sure can maintain their role throughout the entire participation in the project, and then the rest of team members and collaborators. That's something that can change with changes and with updates throughout this process.
Okay, thank you. Also, we were in the section to put the 5 most important publications. We wanted to put there our patent, but it's still not published. Is it okay to put it because it will be published this year? So it will be before. It is okay to put it even if it's not okay.
It's fine. So it's more intended for scientific publications, but if you really think that can add value to your project for reviewers, that's something you can do. And of course, all the confidentiality is maintained at all times. Even the reviewers, they signed an NDA to access this information, and everything is kept at all times. So that's something that you can do, and of course, we will value that as well.
Thank you.
So thank you, Ana. Joana Ramos, your turn.
Hello, good morning to everyone. Thank you for the clear presentation. My project is the project for my PhD. I'm planning to use an AI-generated tool that helps with the digital medical records. Because this tool was developed by a company, and I'm helping with the pediatrics model, and I'm going to use it on the pediatric consultation in different hospitals in Portugal to assess the ethical problems that can arise from that, from the use of AI. I wanted to know if, because I already have the company agreement to use the tool itself, I would like to know if my project would be eligible for this grant and if we would need to apply as a consortium.
So thank you, Joanna. If I understood properly, the asset that you have in the defining is a tool that is owned by a company. Even if you are further developing this tool as it's owned by a for-profit company, it would be not eligible. The same if you are reaching an agreement of having more than 50% on the asset that you are submitting in our call, that would be a chance then for be eligible. But the company cannot be, cannot be a member of this consortium, just the owner of the asset, and the company cannot receive funding to develop it.
Okay, so because for a previous question you talked about contracting some companies if you needed some tool. I don't know if this could apply to my case because they bring the AI part but I developed the pediatric model. They are using it in different specialties. I don't know if they could be like a subcontracted company, if that is possible or not.
So the main discussion here is the definition of the asset. So if there's something new that are you developing in this proposal that needs the use of the existing tool from the company, you need to reach an agreement with this company of what would be the ownership of the solution that you are submitting to the proposal. So we will need to have the certainty that you or your institution, because I don't know if it's something that you are doing personally or with your institution, because it's a different situation. Is a non-for-profit research institution involved, or is a personal?
No, it's been developed for my PhD, so it's with the University of Coimbra.
So it would be the University of Coimbra participating on that and owning a percentage of the tool. So the importance here is that the university has more than the 50% of the ownership of the asset that you are presenting in our call. And it's something that it has to be clear in your proposal, something that it has been mentioned in a previous question. So you need to have a clear idea of that, because if the evaluator understands that this is a tool that is already existing and is owned by a company, and it will be not eligible. So it has to be something new that has a part of the ownership that is owned by the company, but it has to be less than 50% of the company. So Coimbra has to have, the University of Coimbra in this case, has to have more than the 50%. And this is something that it has to be stated in your proposal clearly.
Okay, and if I manage to do that, do you think this product should apply to stage 1?
We really need to understand what's the level of maturity of the project. So I have not enough information. So
of course.
depending on the level of maturity of the technology that you are presenting.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joanna. Let's go with Valeria Grazo.
Hi. Thanks
Hello.
for the clarification. I want to ask a question. I think that you have mentioned some about this, but in some point I have to, I don't know why the internet didn't work. I couldn't hear well. Okay. So it's just this, we will ask for the stage 2, but we have already from an asset that is from an institute, non-profit institution that had more than 50%. Okay. But we have recently a company that will be the exploitation, will be in charge of the exploitation in the future of this, but it's not signed yet any licensing agreement. So I understand that it's feasible not to ask for the grant.
In the case that,
Another,
yes.
Yes, okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
No, but one question about, because I think that I heard in another question about the possibility that is feasible to ask the company as a neotech grant that perhaps is open before you the decision on this call will be available. That is will be feasible.
Yes. So actually, to answer the first question, yes, it's eligible as long as the asset is not transferred and you don't have anything written, any kind of agreement written beforehand. So you don't have any first, or the company doesn't have any first refusal right or any first offer right. You have anything written in advance, because our legal department considers that as a transfer of the agreement. If that's not the case, then the project is eligible. And then the company, as we were mentioning before, can be involved in the project as a collaborator, can be maybe subcontracted if you need to outsource the activities to the company, and that's not a problem at all. With regard to the second question, Of course, this grant is compatible with many other additional co-funding coming from different sources. So actually, it's something that we encourage in the programs to make sure of the sustainability of the initiatives and the projects, even beyond CaixaImpulse. So if you have this collaboration with the company, and the company gets some additional funding from Neotech, from the authority, that's perfect, and that's great news, and it's totally compatible with the program, as well as if, for example, your institution, your non-for-profit institution, also gets some other additional funding for the development of the asset. The only thing we ask for, these are things that are obvious, for example, that they are not like overlapping on the tasks or on the specific items of the budget table between the different sources of funding, but that's something obvious. And besides that, it's totally compatible.
Yes, there's nothing signed yet. There's always negotiations, but it's not nothing. It's not been signed yet. So, okay. And only a last question. The 1% of equity assignment is for it's only for in case of new companies that are created under
That's right.
no. But for example, in this case of a company is already and there's a new ampliaciones of capital. I don't,
Yes, I understand. A consolidated company.
Yeah, in the case of consolidated company, is there any kind of aspect on thinking on that, on future rise of capitals?
No. If it's the case that you mentioned that you haven't signed any transfer agreement with the company, then you can participate in the program. And then it's true that from the very moment that you transfer the agreement, we have to stop our support because that company cannot be considered linked third party. So it's not a company, let's say, incorporated in the framework of the program. Okay. So if, for example, you participate in CaixaImpulse and for 2 years you don't sign any agreement, that's totally fine, and we can keep providing our support to the project. And of course, that 1% that we can ask of equity that we can ask from the companies, those are companies that are incorporated from the participating projects and coming from the beneficiary institutions. So, for example, in your case, if your institution in the end or directly from your research group, you will think of incorporating a company as a payco to keep developing and maturing the asset or performing like valorization actions of your asset, then in that case, we would have the right. It's not an obligation. We have the right to value if we would ask you for that 1% of equity of the company. Okay. Of course, the 1% of the company, it's something. It's minimum. And it's something just to understand what's going on inside the company. And if it's aligned with the portfolio of investments that the Criteria Ventures have, maybe in the future, those can be the first ones to put more money in the company if the company needs it. But if it's not your case, then that 1% equity transfer wouldn't apply to that other company that's already incorporated and it's consolidated and it's not, let's say, created or incorporated within the framework of the program.
Okay, but just for something you said recently, it's a signature of transfer agreement. Before, or so during the project, you stop the grant. I understand.
That's right.
No?
That's right, because we can only provide support to assets that are in 2 cases that have not been transferred to any company, that are in hands of the non-profit institution, or they have been transferred to linked third parties. And those linked third parties, they are exclusively companies that have been incorporated in the framework of the program. Only in those 2 cases, the asset can be eligible and the project can receive our support. If that asset is transferred to a company which is not a linked third party, then in that case, we feel obliged for legal reasons to activate one of the clauses of the rules of participation of the program, and then we have to stop our support to the project.
Okay.
Valeria, thank you. We have to move on because we are running out of time. So next question, Alba, please.
Hello. Do you hear me?
Hi there.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for your presentation. I just have one question. Our project falls between scenario 2 and 3. We already have business plan and market study and an initial validation, but we're applying for scenario 2 as we need more validations and to finish some developments. So should we include this business and market study information, and what is the best place to add it in the scenario 2 questions?
So yeah, you can include as much as information that you have. I understand that you have decided to go to stage 2. So obviously there's limitation on the side on the number of words that you can use. But then supplementary information when you can include some of the information that you think it's key for the evaluation. We obviously need to be quite restrictive about the amount of information that we can send to evaluators because their time is also valuable. So I understand that is an effort to summarize the key information, but try to put everything in the text box and then using the supplementary information to upload any document that you think that is key to supplement the proposal. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Welcome.
so thank you, Alba. Let's go with Tatiana Vilasa.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the clear presentation. I have one question regarding the transition from stage 1 to stage 2 internally. Is it possible to add new partners as we're moving on to... Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
you can change everything except the asset.
Okay,
Right.
nice.
So we didn't get into many details, but because we don't want to take time on this. But of course, it's a fast track, but there are like some administrative elements that have to be considered. And one of them is that you have to prepare like a new proposal, and we will prepare a new project agreement. So
Okay.
you will send a project agreement with us at the stage 1, and then when you move into a stage 2, if you are selected, you will have to prepare a new project agreement. And in that specific point of the process, you will be able to add more partners if you have, or even remove partners from your consortium. And you will be able also to incorporate co-owners of the asset in case you have been developing your asset and you have been in the situation of having collaborators that have ownership on the assets and results.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tatiana, sorry. Let's go with the last question. Laia Torrent, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Just 2 more questions. One is about the stage 1, because I explained you, I have the idea, and I would ask this grant in behalf of my institution, my hospital. But do you expect in stage 1 to have already all the technology, all the partners installed in terms of the software? Because I have an idea of an application that helps with artificial intelligence to plan surgeries. Breast cancer surgeries. So I still don't have all the collaborators in terms of technology. I'm not into informatics, so.
Laia, the only partners that you will need in your proposal are those that are essential for the activities that you are including in the proposal. So obviously in the total development of your project, there will be a lot of different partners that you will need. The important thing is that when you are applying for the proposal, you show that you have the technical requirements to develop it. So you need to know who would be your partners and for the evaluators to assess if this would be feasible or not. So obviously you only need those for the activities that you have included.
But I don't have to have the application already developed or the technology already done. I mean, or.
I don't know if I understand the question. The thing is that we have 3
I mean,
stages.
the tool. I mean, do I have to have this artificial intelligence tool already developed, or it's something that I need these foundings to develop?
Yeah, obviously our program is to develop a solution. So in stage 1, we have designed a program for developing the proof of concept. So And then if you have a feasible proof of concept, then you can go to stage 2 to further develop the business case and everything. Stage 3 is even to mature this technology. And normally rounds of investment are required afterwards to reach the final product that is ready to be used. So obviously we are not looking for something that is ready and finished.
Okay, just the potential institutions that can develop it. Okay.
Yes, the idea of what you want to develop and how are you doing? Are you planning to do so?
Okay. And one last question about the ownership of the intellectual property. Because I have the idea, but of course I'm not gonna do all the software things and this. How can I focus? How can I orient this intellectual property and ownership of the asset and all this issue?
So it's something that you would need to talk with your technology transfer office to define who has been participating in the results that you have until that moment, and the ownership of the asset at this precise moment depends on who has been participating in their definition and the production of the results. Obviously, in the future, this can be shared with different institutions or partners if they are providing further and further knowledge to your solution, but you have to have a snapshot of what is now your asset.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you. That was the last question. So Jordi.
So great, and thank you all for your interest. It has been 2 hours, so it's overwhelming your interest in the program. Thank you so much for your participation, and we close the session here.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Bye.